Hello, Crystal Palace. Welcome to the Upper Norwood Library Hub Library Live Lunch. This is intended as a way of sharing positive and useful information and inspirational stories from the local community and keeping us all connected. So today is a special one for half term with parents in mind particularly. And my guest today is Jim Rastall, who is a co-founder of Troupers, after-school drama clubs for adventurous minds. And before you all look at the surname and go, that's weird, we've got two unusual surnames the same together, he is my brother. Yes, you're right. So Jim, thanks so much for joining us. Tell us a bit about what you do.
Yes, hi, Eleanor. Thank you for having me, getting me on here through sheer nepotism. It's a pleasure. You've introduced me so well. I'm a co-founder and the director of Troupers drama, and we run after-school drama clubs and workshops in schools for primary age children, about 5 to 11 generally. Yeah, so that's what Troupers is all about. It's basically using games and fun to facilitate kind of imagination at the end of the day.
And I meant to say, and I forgot that you are actually sort of technically a local resident, and the clubs are across South London, aren't they, at the moment?
Yeah, that's right. I am a local Crystal Palatian, although I'm far away at the moment. I've been banished to South Wales. But my heart is in Crystal Palace, yeah. And the clubs are all South London. They go far west as Putney, actually, but it all started around where I first lived in South, which was West Dulwich. Our first clubs were there.
Yeah. Cool. And you said it's all about imagination and play. So tell us a bit more about the Troupers' aims and how it operates.
Yeah, it's a good question. It's one that I always make time to reflect on and make sure that we are having that front of mind, is what's the real point of these clubs. Because for us, while I came to teaching acting, I am an actor and I trained at the Bristol Old Vic Theatre School, and while I was there I discovered teaching, and I discovered it, I was lucky, it was part of my course, and I just took to it, really enjoyed it, and I basically just thought it was a fun way to spend my Easter holiday, much more fun than working for Yorkshire Bank. which definitely. But what I discovered over time was that we had this really fantastic ability as drama facilitators to liberate kids, people, any age, to be fair. But we obviously in Troupers work with youngsters, but it's just creating that space for them to express themselves, to explore their imagination, and to get used to sharing. I guess the ethos of the whole company would be about accept and build. Ultimately, we teach acceptance, really, and it's very much a yes and kind of atmosphere that we like to generate, and partly because we believe that's where the most creative, imaginative work comes from. It's where the freest acting comes from. It's also where the biggest gains are in terms of personal development, we believe.
Cool. I'm going to come back to that in a little bit.
Feel free.
So just before we carry on, I just want to say hello to everybody who's watching. And if you have any questions for Jim as we go along, please do put them on the Facebook feed or YouTube feed or whatever platform you're watching on. You will have noticed today that we're in a slightly different format because we're in gallery view rather than speaker view. And there's a very good reason for that, which is that I'm going to now ask Jim to give us a game that we can play, that we're going to play, but you guys, I hope, will join in at home. So Jim, what are we going to start with?
Yes, I thought a nice one to start with would be a game called Do This, Do This, Do That. And it's one that I pull out of the bag frequently. I'll often start a session with this just to make sure that everybody's in the room and attentive. It's sneaky. It really hooks them into their sense of competitiveness. I've yet to find a child who this doesn't work on. So for parents at home, nick it, feel free. It's a really good way to quickly grab attention by giving your kids something a little bit more engaging than whatever else it was that was distracting them. It's really simple. It's do this, do this, do that. If I say do this, you do what I do. And if I say do that, you don't do what I do. Okay, it's that simple. So it's kind of Simon Says, do this, do this, do that. Okay. So if I say do this, Elle would copy, yes. And if I say do this, she would copy that as well. If I say do that, she should absolutely not copy, yes. She fights the urge. Okay, but we play fast. Are you ready?
Okay.
You ready now? Okay, and people at home can obviously join in as well. All right, so if I were to say do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, do that. It is deceptively hard. I don't know if people at home manage to keep up or get caught out there, but it is deceptively hard. And it'll go faster and faster. Do you want one more round?
Yeah.
We do one more round. Hopefully people will be able to take away and use it now. Ready?
Okay, guys, join in.
Okay, everyone needs to join in. Ready? Okay. Do this, 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 do that, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, do that.
I'm terrible.
Yeah, it's hard. It's
I'm really terrible at this.
Much harder than you think, but really, really good to quickly get people like energized and on the front foot and listening to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
guys, please do let us know how you got on with that at home. We'd love to know your feedback and your comments. So yeah, shoot us your thoughts. Brilliant. So you were saying you'd use this at the beginning to grab attention, but actually you could just keep doing it all the way through, couldn't you? I guess you do 3 sessions.
Yeah, absolutely. We found that our style is we try to manage a room and a group through engaging them rather than through discipline. Mm-hmm. You know, the aim is obviously not to have total chaos, but we just believe that if they are engaged and if they have something to participate in, then kids want to do that. And so, yeah, I will just drop this in any time. You know, if we do an exercise which is particularly wild, you know, like a massive group improvisation or something, and then you need to bring the attention back to maybe explain the next phase of what we're going to do, I like to work very, very fast. So I might throw in things like touch that wall, back here in 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. Okay, do this. Who can be the first to do this? Adding those simple words, who can be the first to? Game changer, I promise you. Who can be the first to touch their nose? You know. So yeah, I'll use it. I'll drip it in at any time. Yeah.
Fantastic.
It's a good one to have up your sleeve.
Do you want to give us another one?
Yeah, very happy to. Okay, so the next game I got in mind for you guys is, again, it's very simple, deceptively simple. It's called the 1, 2, 3 game. And all you need to do is be able to count to 3. So Ella, as an Oxford graduate, I hope that you're going to be all right with this. But we're going to count to 3 between us, taking it in turns, and we're just going to go on a loop. So if I say 1, 2, Ellen will say, then I will say 3.
1,
2,
3.
1,
2,
3.
1,
2,
3.
Perfect. Very simple. Very simple. The idea is to, obviously you work in pairs and you go quite quickly then, okay, once you know the game. So if we just do a very, very quick round of doing it quickly to demonstrate, Eleanor, it might be like this. 1,
2,
3.
1,
2,
3.
1,
2,
3.
1,
2,
3.
1,
2.
3. Okay, good. So that's the base level of the game. It's really simple. And I just use that to just get people, even just about getting used to sharing eye contact and connecting with each other and listening and just having a bit of fun. Also, when you engage fully in a game, especially when there's some kind of tension to the game, like in this case, like, can we go fast? Then it removes, there's no space for other thoughts. So it's actually a really good sort of, presence exercise. I think there's a huge, my personal philosophy is that there's a huge overlap with playfulness and mindfulness. I think of playfulness as like an active form of mindfulness. So if you're fully engaged in a game, everything else just falls away. So it's really healthy for kids, and it's really healthy for adults to engage in play like this. Anyway, so if we move it on to like a slightly harder version of the game, we imagine that we move over to a world in which the number 2 doesn't exist as we know it, and it's been replaced by an action. You can choose your own action. I tend to use this. So now if we count to 3, now counting to 3 sounds like 1, 3, 1, 3. So if we do that between us again, the game now goes like this. If I start, 1, 3.
1, 3.
1, 3.
1, 3.
I saw that. Yeah, so there you go. So it gets a bit harder. We get the idea. 2 does not exist. 2 is this. We can make it harder again if you're ready. Third level of this is we can replace the number 3 with perhaps touching our head. So now it goes 1, 1 between us. I will start. 1,
1,
1,
1,
1,
1,
1.
1.
Very good, very good.
Cool.
All right, I challenge you to go a bit faster though, Elle, if we can, for the last one. Yeah. And can you can add the final action, because sometimes I will replace number 1 with, say, a jump. It's not so easy to do on a chair. What would you like to replace number 1 with? Okay, great. A thumbs up. Oh, that's gonna be difficult. Thumbs up, and then that. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 is now. All right. How fast can we go? Ready?
Yeah.
Do you want to start?
Was this 1 or 3? I've forgotten now. 1.
1.
Okay. All right. Yes. Here we go.
Here we go. I think I actually accept defeat there. I hesitated. The hesitation. And in your pairs you can decide how harsh you want to be.
I think, can I have that in writing that I won, because as ongoing many decades of sibling rivalry, that would be really good.
All right,
I guess
fine.
we have it on a video. So
yeah,
I have proof.
I know. I should never have agreed to this.
Cool. Can we just go back to what you started saying just as you were teaching the game about the connection between playfulness and mindfulness, because actually that's huge. I'd like you to say a bit more about play anyway, and why that interests you and why it's good for all of us. But I love that connection to mindfulness as well.
Yes, it's a big topic.
It is. You've got about 5 minutes.
Okay, playfulness as mindfulness. Well, my interest in play has obviously goes back to my childhood. But when you go to drama school, I guess you engage in play in a slightly different way. But what I noticed happening as I trained as a professional actor is that actually, strangely, the playfulness, if you're not careful, actually like drains out of it. And it becomes quite serious, and we try to become good actors. So when I first started working with actors of any age, because now I direct as well, so playfulness is how I approach directing, and it's how I approach coaching actors. It's how I approach coaching young actors and teaching groups. It's how I work with non-acting groups to facilitate playfulness in those contexts and creativity in those contexts. And yeah, it drips into everything really that I do, or I try to feed it into everything I do, as well as my own life. Anyway, the point is, my feeling around playfulness is that by engaging in whatever we're doing in a playful way, we actually open ourselves up to more possibilities, and it allows us to fully engage while quieting that voice about getting it right or wrong. And which is a killer of creativity. It's a killer of spontaneity. It's a depressing and weighty. I don't know what you would call it. Like the need. It's a depressing and weighty need. The need to get it right, and playfulness absolves us of that need, and in doing so creates a lot of space mentally, and opens up to a lot of connection with ourselves and then we're able to share much more of ourselves than with other people. And I do believe that when you play a game for real, you are yourself. There's no space for any, there's no barrier. If you just engage in a game, there's no barrier, there's no mask, there's no filter. You're just you, and you're just playing. And it's very refreshing and liberating, and it can create a real lightness. So I do think for people of all ages, play and playfulness is incredibly important, and is the major, acceptance and yes anding is all part and parcel of that. But it really comes down to just people being free to be themselves. So when it comes to Troupers, yes, I like kids to get better at acting and do good acting, but it's not really the point. I don't know if that answers the question of mindfulness. It's just about being present, really.
Yeah. How well, mindfulness is all about being in the present moment, and without judgment, isn't it, on what you're doing? So yes, that absolutely answers the question, I think. How would you encourage people to move towards this playful mindset? Because actually, speaking as somebody who's had to work quite hard over quite a long period of time to get more into that mindset and away from judgment and restricting myself, it's not an immediate thing for most people. No. How would you encourage people to do that?
Really good question. And I wonder if it's just like you would get better at anything. I suspect it's practice and doing it, which is why I think having a space like, that's why we provide after school clubs, because kids maybe don't have that as much space for play as they maybe used to. There's a sense that there are more exams now, which I think is the case, even at a younger and younger age. And after the age of 7, we're told it's not about the sandpit anymore. It's about sitting down and getting your work right and passing your SATs and stuff. So I think it's just important for us all, whatever age we are, to create a space for us where we can play. And remember what it is for you to play. It means different things to everybody. It's worth reflecting on what you used to do as a kid, just for the sheer fun of it, and how I'm reminded at the moment of these incredible summer days it reminds me of those long summer holidays when I was 10. And I just think, what did I used to do? And how can I do more of that in my life? Because that's play. And then you just stretch that muscle, the play muscle. And then I suspect, just like if you were, practicing yoga, you might find that it spills over into other areas. And maybe you can start to approach work more playfully, life more playfully. It's about finding the outlets for you. What is play for you, and how can you do more of it?
Yeah, fab. And I guess as adults, and particularly since it's half term, thinking about parents who've had their children at home for 24 hours a day for far longer than they would normally, even I think over the summer, probably be in that situation. That it's helpful for parents to start getting into that mindset, maybe, and then they can pass it on. And here are some games that we've just done that would help with that. Is that a reasonable summary?
I think that's a very reasonable summary. I think these games are all about connection in the moment, and if you play them properly, you'll almost certainly find that you laugh, and laughing is a great sign of that you're in a playful mode.
Fab. Okay, I think we have time for one more game.
Oh, okay. All right then. Yeah, sure. Okay. And we'll see if this one works well over Zoom. This is really simple. It's called Animals. And you can play this with just 2 people, or you can play it with however many of you there are. So broadly speaking, everybody chooses an animal to name themselves. So have you got one, Al?
Yes, I will go with a parrot, if I'm allowed that as an animal rather than a bird.
Parrot, yes, you're allowed that. Parrot. It can be anything, any animal or bug or anything. And to prove the point, I'll be a spider. Okay, so the aim of the game is, and if there were more of us, everybody would have a different animal or insect or whatever. The aim is to say the other person's animal name 3 times before they can say it once. Okay, if you're playing in a group, this will tend to mean that one person is in the middle and they're going to try and get out of the middle by saying the name of any animal in the circle 3 times before that person can say it once. In the context of just 2 people, this is the kind of game that you can just drip feed in, and you can just try and catch each other out on like almost an ongoing basis. And you can decide that someone is it or on, and then it can pass between you. Or you can just decide that, you know what, at any time, I might parrot, and catch you. I just catch you out just to make sure that you're on your toes. And equally, you could say
spider.
Spider.
You chose a tongue twister one. That's not fair.
I did in response to parrot. I think when we practiced this before, you used cat.
And you used lion. Much easier.
Yeah. There will be, you do get some strange examples of animals, which whenever I'm teaching this, I always, knowing what's coming, I'm like, oh, no. Anyway, yeah, so that is simply how it works. So if we do the game where it'll start that I'm on, and I'm trying to catch you out. Okay. Parrot. I don't know if you were too slow there, if that was the Zoom connection. I'll give you one.
I think we should let people on Facebook decide, actually, guys. I'm looking at the Facebook feed, so you're going to have to tell us who wins here.
Okay.
Right.
We'll see if I can catch her out by saying parrot. Before she says it.
Spider.
So I have to say spider. Oh, all right. You've linked to the... All right.
I switched it around. I did it wrong, didn't I?
But it doesn't matter. We can play either version. All right. You can catch me out and I can catch you out. We play simultaneously.
Cool.
Ready?
Spider.
Spider. Parrot.
Ah, parrot. Too slow.
Well, you made the game harder. It's your own fault.
True,
parrot. 2-0.
Oh, spider.
Spider.
I literally can't get the word out fast enough. Okay, guys, if you're playing this, especially parents with children, be really canny about what animal you choose. Pick an easy one.
I really recommend choosing something like elephant for yourself and suggesting that your child chooses dog or cat.
That's a good point.
Koala's a good one. Koala's quite a fun one. Yeah, koala.
Ah, nice.
Surprisingly flowy to say.
Yeah. Excellent. It's basically sorry, go on.
No.
I'm just thinking of something that you said the other day when we were just testing these out, about creating your own language, which is sort of what all of these games are doing that we've done today, really, aren't they?
Absolutely. And they're just start points. Mm-hmm. You know, the thing is about these as well, there's not like a right or a wrong way to play them. You play them however they're fun. And, you may well find that your kids, actually, your child, might just come up with a better version of the game.
Yeah.
Which is great. They're just launch pads. They're just the start. So you take them how you want them. I certainly play them differently now to how I did 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they're just inspiration. Hopefully.
I guess it's interesting how the instinct immediately that I had was to get it right, and then that I'd got it wrong when I changed the rules by accident.
Well, on a deeper level, if you want to go there, the other thing about playing games is because you are you reveal a lot. You can learn basically. I honestly, I kind of believe I can know so much of what is important about how a person is at that time by how they play almost any game. It really throws up your patterns. It really, it's very revealing. It's kind of vulnerable to play a game, even a silly one.
Well, speaking as your sister who has been in some of your workshops, I definitely found that's true. It's really interesting because you're an excellent teacher. I've always found that, but I also find it very hard to play games. It's got better as I've done it more and just relaxed. But definitely when I first started doing that, sometimes it was I in my head I was just cringing all the time, and monitoring. Judging myself and just noticing everything every time that I felt like I got something wrong or my mind went blank or couldn't think of something to say, couldn't think of something clever to say, interesting to say, or a good suggestion.
Well, I mean, I almost every workshop at some point I'll say you don't need to be clever, funny or original, but it's all well and good to hear that, but you need to hear that and practice that so many times. So the other point of of all the workshops that I do is what we're actually doing is creating a place where people not only can fail, but will fail. Mm-hmm. But they'll also realize on the other side of that failure that it really just doesn't matter. It's absolutely fine. And actually, by and large, when it comes to improvisation, playfulness, drama, the uncontrolled moments, which are the moments where we think we fail often, are the ones that are the most interesting, the most funny, the most enjoyable, the most surprising, the most entertaining, the most revealing. That's what we actually want. So when we talk about like these sessions as fostering imagination or creating a space for imagination and spontaneity as well, I think what we're really saying is you can't teach someone imagination or spontaneity. The idea is we come from a place of, you already are imaginative, you already have a crazy huge imagination, and you already have the ability to be absolutely spontaneous. What gets in the way is what you were saying about that inner dialogue, the checks and balances that we placed on ourselves. And as we get older, we put more and more of those in place. So the idea of getting kids young and giving them this space from a young age is that we just combat the how many and how rigidly these kind of self limits how they form. You just push that process back a little bit, hopefully indefinitely, and create very free thinking, imaginative people, or not create them, but just nurture them, allow them. Yes. That's the natural way of being.
And actually, just going back to the idea of mindfulness very briefly, and for adults who maybe haven't had that allowing, but are looking to take away their limits now. Where was I going with this? Awareness. Actually, that one of maybe the biggest thing you can gain from doing things like this is an awareness of what your brain is saying and how that affects you physically and emotionally and mentally, and then you can start to practice letting that go. I think this is very much what I found with singing teaching as well. Would you agree with that?
Well, 100%. And a bit, I guess, like singing or any other outlet, it's learning that stuff in a relatively speaking, a low stakes place. If you can learn a lot about yourself through a singing exercise or through playing a game, that's maybe less worrying or less stressful than feeling like you have to come up against or learn those things in a high pressure environment, like a big business meeting or something.
Yeah. Fab. We are very nearly out of time. So actually, following on from that, if people have any questions following on from this, or they want to get in touch, because you do, as well as Troupers after school clubs for kids, you also do workshops for adults and private coaching, in fact, as well, I think. So if people want to get in touch with questions or requests for anything, what is the best way for them to do that?
Yes, that is all true. The best way to do that is, I think we've probably got Troupers contact on the screen, but if not, it's troupers.org.uk. Troupers spelled like this, actually, with an OU.
Excellent.
Yeah, always on brand. It's with an OU, and there's an email address that you can get me there as well, info@troupers.org.uk. Or just to get me personally, feel free to get in touch on LinkedIn. It's just Jim Rastall on LinkedIn. I don't think there's too many of me, so you can always drop me a line there.
It is a fairly unusual surname, as pointed out earlier. Brilliant. Well, thank you ever so much. That was great fun.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure.
I look forward to being back in Crystal Palace in person soon.
Yeah, excellent. Well, I might be able to see you for a coffee at a distance at some point soon.
Yes, over the wall.
Yes, indeed. Cool. Well, just before we finish, everybody who's still watching, just to let you know about a couple of things. We have, as I'm sure you know, an enormous live stream program through the Upper Norwood Library Hub. That we've got everything from singing classes, morning yoga and mindfulness, children's stories, the edible garden, cross stitch, and all sorts of everything, art, craft, music. And particularly tonight we have the Covers Cafe at 8 o'clock with the lovely Rin, who's doing rock and pop covers, followed at 9 o'clock by DJ and PJs. And both of those will be taking requests. So please do tune into those and ask for your favourites. That's it from me for the weekend. I'll be back on Monday with Beth Manders from the Paxton Centre, who's going to be telling us a bit about that and hopefully plans for reopening it soon. So have a lovely weekend, guys. Jim, thanks, that was fun. And yeah, stay safe, take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye.